This is the Know Your Law series by Barefoot Law, a non-profit organization which uses digital innovation and technology to provide free legal information and guidance for all. For more information, visit www.barefootlaw.org.
And welcome to our webinar on child maintenance and custody. With us today, we have a number of guests who are most distinguished in all the fields that matter to this subject. I'm going to start with the guest right next to me. We have Miss Esther Talamoy. She's a lawyer with Barefoot Law. She's very, very passionate about the work that she does with people who are in a vulnerable state and making sure that they have access to justice. In the middle, we have Dr. Diana Musoke. She's, to put it modestly, she is one of the lead authorities on this subject in family law, domestic relations. She's a senior counsel, which is a very distinguished title in Uganda. She's a senior lecturer at Islamic University and a host of other universities. She has, to put it mildly, she has been there. She has done that. She has covered quite a lot of these fields, and so we feel we're in very distinguished company, and she's going to ably guide us as we deal with these issues. On the extreme left, we have Mr. Peter Mayanja. Mr. Peter Mayanja is passionate about children. He's an activist. I could go on and on about everything that he has accomplished. He has worked with USAID, he works with KCCA, and in different capacities he has been able to reach out to children and handle them in different capacities. Today he sits with us as the Probation and Welfare Officer of Kampala City Authority. So that's a face I think some of you will be very familiar with as well. The lawyers, I'm sure, are familiar with Dr. Diana, and if you've been with Barefoot Law for quite some time, I'm sure you know Esther Talamoy. She has been with us and she has been helping with a lot of the issues that we handle. I'm going to give you a brief introduction about what we do as Barefoot Law. We are a not-for-profit organization, and what we have been doing over the years that we've been here is trying to make access to legal information accessible and available to everyone. We have used technology, we have used innovation and every sort of skill. At the head of this organization, we have a legal rebel, somebody who has been there and has helped us to steer us in the direction that you see us today. We are giving you this information in as simple a manner as possible because that's what we do. We're the Barefoot Lawyers. To start off, you're welcome, our guests, and thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
To start off, we are going to deal with the interest of a child. As you all know, when we're dealing with issues of relationships, one of the local cultures here, they have a saying where they say, where two people who are in a relationship are having disagreements and issues, don't put in a word, don't give advice, because when everything turns, they're going to look at you and they'll give you that sort of side eye. So from that front, every time we deal with relationships, we have noticed that the issues of children are secondary. It's about if I am right and you are wrong. And so we tend to leave what happens to the children out. So with this session, we want to have a look at why it's important for us to look out for the interests of a child before, after, and during the separation. And that's why we're looking at child maintenance, which is a very important subject, and the custody of these children, who gets to keep the children, and why this is very, very important, even when you're dealing with issues such as separation. So to start off, they say charity begins at home. So we're going to start off with Esther. I'm going to ask a simple question about the subject, which is separation. Esther, when we talk about separation, what do we mean?
Separation in simple terms is two people going their separate ways. Basically that. So maybe you could be married or unmarried. For the unmarried, what we call friends living together, or the cohabiting couples, you go separate ways. And for the married people, we have various ways in which they could separate. We have by agreement, we have judicial separation, and we have divorce. So in separation by agreement, the couple, the two people sit down and agree they want to live separate ways because of different circumstances. And in judicial separation, this is by court. You go to court by way of petition, and then there's a separation agreement, a separation order. The difference between the agreement and the judicial separation is there's court involved in the first one. And then there's divorce. Divorce is the final end to a marriage. This is for married people. Marriage is recognized. There's church marriage, we have civil marriages, and we have customary marriages. We have Hindu, we have Islamic marriages. Those are people who could go for divorce. But we want to look at the friends living together because this happens a lot. This is happening. And when there are children involved, we cannot ignore that, oh, this does not exist. Yes, this happens. So the people who could go for divorce are the couples, the people who are legally married. Divorce brings an end to marriage, unlike separation. For those who are formally married, separation does not bring an end to a marriage. The people are simply living apart.
Okay, thank you very much, Esther. Dr. Diana, could you possibly chip in? I've had a couple of big words here. I've heard about a petition, I've heard about judicial separation. Kindly break those two things down for us.
Thank you very much, Alan. And I'm glad I'm here to help. I'm also an activist. I usually want people to know the law because it's good when people get to know the law, they can then be able to exercise their rights. Now, when you talk about judicial separation, actually what it means is that you are still married, but you want space from each other such that you are able to sort out any difference that you have. Now that means that you can live in separate bedrooms, you can live in separate houses, not under the same roof, but you're still husband and wife, and you're trying to sort out your issues. And it is then when you are trying to sort out the issues and you completely fail, that's when you can go to court then, and you can petition and say, I want our marriage to be completely ended, dissolved, and we can each go our own way. And the word just petition is just a procedure, because when you are going to court, there are court procedures that you have to use. So the procedure when you want a divorce and the procedure when you want judicial separation, that's when you go by way of petition. But if, we usually advise people that go to court when you really can't talk to each other. Because when you are in court, you want to wash all your dirty linen, which is not good, and it will keep that anger on. But if you can still talk to each other, then you can enter into a separation agreement, and you can agree on various terms on how you can be able to live separately as you're trying to sort out your differences on. But if
Thank you very much, Dr. Diana.
Hello, welcome to the Know Your Law series, where Barefoot Law answers frequently asked questions on the law. Do you have employment issues? Questions about family law, criminal law, land transactions? The answers are right here on the Know Your Law series.